Hey, Link here. Thanks for joining me for episode 98, where I speak with Game Developer Mateo, who you might know from Makis Adventure, where we speak about their upcoming Ultimate Indie Racing game, how they got started making games, their favorite games, games they feel don't get enough recognition, their life outside of gaming, and some lightning round questions. Before we get started, don't forget there are links in the episode description that you can follow to learn more about Mateo as well as the podcast. Also, don't forget to like and share the episode, and without further ado, enjoy episode 98. Hi, and welcome to the Red Tunic Podcast, a podcast where I look to rediscover what makes gaming fun and enjoyable by having positive conversations with those related to the industry. My name is Link, and today I'm joined by Mateo, developer of Makis Adventure, and currently developing Rogue Jungle as well as Ultimate Indie Racing. Hi, Mateo. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing very good. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm ready to talk about my games and gaming in general.
Awesome. And you're more than welcome for, for the invitation. Like I said, thank you for making time to have this conversation with me, for joining me. There is a bit of a time difference for us. You're in Germany, and I am most definitely not in Germany. So thank you for working this out with me. It's really what I'm getting to there with a 6 or so hour difference.
Yeah, sure. I'm always happy to talk, and it's evening in Germany, so it's a great time to talk, I think.
Awesome. So, Mateo, before we get started, if you don't mind, could you tell me and anyone listening a little bit about yourself, kind of like the elevator pitch to, who you are or what you feel is most important that people know right out the gate?
Okay, so my name is Matteo. I'm a 22 years old solar developer from Germany, and I make games for 4 years now. So I started in 2020 during the Corona quarantine, and yeah, right now I'm sitting here in my home, and I make games in my spare time. I'm a student in the full time, when you can say it like that. So I study informatics, and I love to make games, and I spend every evening and every night to make my games. And yeah, a bit about my games. My first game is Makis Adventure. I started it in 2021. Um, it was my very first commercial game and my first time developing a game which had a longer development time than just 2 weeks than before. Um, yeah, Maki's Adventure is a bit about a shark demon called Maki. It's an action platformer, 2D, and it switches to 3D during the gameplay. And it's my first time drawing pixel art, so it was my completely first time doing everything from the game. And it was a great learning experience, and it was a really awesome journey.
So, I'm happy that that there was such a good journey for you, that it was something that you could do. And like, you said, first time doing pixel art and, uh, the commercial process, I imagine, was terrifying. As I imagine everyone's first commercial pro, experience or what have you is. But, congratulations on the release. And now you're already working towards, um, your next two, right? With Rogue Jungle as well as Ultimate Indie Racing.
Yeah, thank you for the congratulations. And yeah, I'm working on two games right now, on Rogue Jungle and on Ultimate Indie Racing. And I'm also working on level editor for Makis Adventure. So I'm basically working on three games right now. But one game is finished, the other ones are still in development. And they are basically completely different games. So Makis Adventure is a 2D platformer. Rogue Jungle is in card based. So a deck building, roguelike, vampire survivor-like game. It's a wide genre mix. And Ultimate Indie Racing is an arcade racer like Mario Kart, but with indie game characters. So it's a really wide variety of games I'm developing right now, and I love to like get a few. Like I love to work on multiple games because I can get some refreshment on my brain, and I don't want to like work on one game for 2 years right now because it was a really tough journey. But I would rather like work on one game for a week now, and then the other one game for the next week, and I get some. It's a really good way for me to work on games. I would say it like that.
I yeah, I can imagine being able to break up what you're working on to give yourself, like you said, that little break or rest or what have you. I'm a developer in my full-time job, and I've been working on the same project more and or less for the last few years in different forms, different shapes, what have you, like however you want to phrase it. And I imagine anyone that's been in my position or can empathetically relate to that uh, will very much understand why you want that little break in between. Get those fresh eyes as you're going. So I'm glad that you are able to keep busy while also um, continuing to work on something so that, you are still being productive, I think is the way I'm gonna go with it, or the safe way to phrase it, because I don't know a better way. Um, and I am curious because with Ultimate Indie Racing, I've seen you reaching out to other devs to try and get their characters in. And I've seen some of the characters that are in there. I'm just wondering if you don't mind speaking to like the process, or maybe not the process, but the how that's been going. I will go with that. How it's been going with you to like work all of that out to bring these different characters in and, have them in your racing game.
Yeah, it was a really, really big journey so far because Ultimate Indie Racing was planned as an experiment for me. Because the idea came because I was playing Mario Kart with my brother, and he asked me to make, because I love to make like small game jams and like small projects to learn new things. And I said to him I could easily make Mario Kart drifting in one day because I had the vision for how I would code the drifting mechanics, the drifting physics in my brain when I saw it in Mario Kart. And my brother challenged me then to make Mario Kart, the drifting and the like character controller in one day. So I took the challenge, and after 3 hours, I posted my progress on Twitter with my like because I'm developing on the Makis Adventure 3D version right now. I have like a 3D model of Maki ready, so I just put Maki into the cart, and like the cart contained like one box and I think four cylinders as wheels. So it was a really basic shape for the car, but it looked really great because of the FX and because of the drifting. So I posted it on Twitter, and the people really loved the idea of a Maki racing game. So I kept working on the game for I think another 5 hours, and after a bit less than 10 hours, I posted my final result for the day, and then it got like I think 500 likes, so it went really good for me. And that way, the idea was born to make a racing game for me because I always loved to play racing games like Mario Kart, for example. It's one of my favorite video games. But I always thought, why not make an indie Mario Kart, if you know what I mean? Because there are so many cool racing games, but they are all from big studios, and like I always loved like Super Smash Bros. The variety of characters that you can play from different worlds. But I was always dreaming of like a racing game with different indie game characters in it. So I just posted this gameplay, and one of my friends, the developer of Bo, Pablo the Lotus, the Squid Shock Studios, reached out to me and asked if I could build Bo into the game as a racer the character. And that way, the idea came true, and I built this character in, and people loved the idea of an indie racing game. So yeah, that's how the idea was born, basically.
And now, I don't remember how many characters. I think the last time I saw you had something like 8 or so. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, there are many different characters right now. They are way more approved right now, but I only announced I think 8 or 7 characters because I really want to get the whole lineup ready for an announcement trailer really soon, and I don't want to spoil that much, so I will not leak any characters here on the episode, sadly. But yeah, I will try to make an announcement trailer ready for I think December this year or maybe early next year to announce the game properly.
So you really are taking that Smash Brothers approach where you're gonna have those, challenger approaching kind of thing, to that way it's not spoiled for everyone. Everyone can be surprised, right? That's pretty funny, especially given, like you said, the amount that you seem to have in like the, I don't want to say the backlog, ready to go or getting ready to go. I think that's a really interesting approach, a fun approach. So I'm happy to hear that it's working out for you. I'm happy to hear that uh, other indie developers or smaller devs are what's the word I want to use? Um, Happy to like willing to contribute, right? To like work towards it because I imagined on a large scale this is just a fun idea for everyone involved. I hope what I'm saying makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Like the ultimate indie racing game is taking really good shape, and I definitely didn't thought it would be that good to be honest. Because when I posted the first big announcement from Another Crab's Treasure, the Krill, the crab, it went really great. I think it had 2,000 likes on Twitter and over 400,000 impressions or views. And over the night, many people reached out to me, and under these people were many very very big indie publishers that I played their game myself, so it was a really big honor for me to get a Twitter DM from them, and like they asked me if I could build a character into the game. It was a really big honor for me, and I just loved everything about it. I built so many cool connections with this game, and so many cool people I got to know during the time. So it definitely is a really cool game to develop. Um, yeah, right now I'm more like because I'm a solo developer, I'm making everything on my own, and right now I want to finish the level editor first. So I kind of pause the development, but the active development will continue after the level editor is done. So yeah, right now it's paused, but I can promise to the people here listening, I will give my best to make a really fun racing game.
So, Mateo, yeah, I have the best of, I don't want to say expectations because that feels like that feels dirty to say because it seems like I'm like trying to pressure you or something. But, I have the best of hopes for you. It sounds like you have a good idea on your hands. It sounds like you know what you're doing. So, I'm fingers crossed for you that it continues to go smooth in both your in doing the level editor with Rogue Jungle, but as well as with Ultimate Indie Racing. Fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly for you. Just because it's an interesting idea, and I hope you're having fun with it, and I hope everyone else that gets to play it also gets to have fun with it.
Thank you for that. I'm doing my best, and the pressure is really big because people are like expecting so much already. And I got so many DMs on Twitter or how it's called now X. I got so many DMs from people asking about this feature, that feature. If I could maybe build an like track editor where you can build your own maps, and people are expecting so much right now, and I'm only one dude developing this game, so it definitely gets really nerve-wracking right now from the expectations, but I'm really sure that I will make a really fun game here, and I will definitely not disappoint people. That's what I can promise to you.
Well, and I think that's good to hear, but also, I hope that for your own mental health that you are, well, you said it's already kind of on a little bit of a break while you work on the level editor, but I hope for your mental health as well that you're able to like, you know, take a step back and breathe, right? Like don't succumb to the pressure is what I'm really getting at here is, it's, do the best that you can and also, do what's best for you while you're doing it, right? Like I don't think, one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about, when it comes to the fact that games are being made is that they're not always easy to make. They're not always, pressure free or what have you, and that can take its toll. So, really what I'm saying is I hope the best for you in both your success, but also you know, with you balancing school as well as balancing your own mental health. I hope all of that makes sense. I'm sure it does. I'm just always worried sometimes that I babble and then that, the plot gets lost when I'm trying to say it.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. The most important thing right now is to not advertise the game in a wrong way. So I definitely want to only show in the trailer gameplay that is in the game already. I'm not a fan of like pre-animated gameplay that will not look like that in the full game. So my approach as a developer always is to advertise my games in the correct way, in the honest way that people see only the gameplay they will get and not like because many studios, the bigger studios also like post like cinemated trailers and the game will definitely not look like the trailer. But I don't like this approach because you're kind of lying to the players because players expect like actual gameplay there. So yeah, I want to be very honest, and I also want to because I'm posting very active on X on Twitter. I will definitely also make like updates on how the game development is going, and also before the game will come out, I will also like have a roadmap which features will be in the game, so that players can have the right expectations and not be like it will be the next Mario Kart because it won't. I'm not Nintendo. I'm only one dude. And yeah, but that's my approach as a developer.
And I think that sounds like a wonderful approach. And I think this kind of leads to a good transition, a good lead in, or what have you. To I'm wondering because you said that you started your first working on games or what have you, handful of years ago at this point now. I'm wondering like how did you get into developing making games, and if you have any words of wisdom that you are okay sharing from your experiences, if you don't mind, sharing that.
Yeah, my story was really it's really basic. It was just like I was really bored because like my whole lifetime I think when I started drawing or being creative when I was like 8 years old or 7 years old. So in the kindergarten I think or like in the elementary school I think it's called. Um, yeah, I was like always loved to draw. So it was a big passion of mine, and I kept drawing until I was like 18 or 17, and then I suddenly like stopped because I got into gaming, and I love to play games like Fortnite and Minecraft at that time. So I was really like addicted to games also. I can be very honest here. So I was addicted to Fortnite a lot of my time, and when COVID hit and I was only at home, I was not at school. I really wanted to find a new hobby that I could like get my time into, which is not gaming. So I started to search things that you can do if you want to draw. And then I found a devlog from a YouTuber called Jonas Tyroller. And he made the game Thronefall and Will You Snail. He is a really cool YouTuber, I think, and also a cool developer. And his videos really motivated me, and I also started my own journey that way. So I started by watching Breckies and the other big game dev YouTuber channel, and I learned Unity back then because I started with GameMaker, but GameMaker was really frustrating for me because it didn't click with me. I just couldn't get to know this user interface, and this whole like programming wasn't my type of thing. I just gave up, to be honest, after 1 week. But 2 weeks later, I then started over with Unity, and Unity was way easier to learn because there are way more resources to learn with. And that way, I started by developing small games like prototypes, game jams, and like small mini games. And I developed or published on itch.io, I think 12 mini games over 1 year of development. And that way I could learn a lot of cool mechanics. I could, for example, I started out with making a Smash Bros. Clone where you stomp on each other. So it's like Smash Bros, but like a couch fighting game, like a local couch fighting game. But you basically have to dive and stomp onto each other. So you have to get on top of the other player and then stomp and kick him into the lava. So it's like a really simple gameplay, but it's really fun. So I started out with making games like that, really simple mechanics, not really beautiful visuals, so really like a prototype, if you know what I mean. And that way, I think I spent 12 months to develop some games and publish them on itch.io. I also entered and participated in game jams to like get some challenge and make a game in 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. It was a really great learning experience because with that limited time, you have to um, be very time efficient and not that thoughtful with every decision, if you know what I mean. So you cannot like be, oh, I want this pixel to be placed on this. Like you cannot have, you shouldn't be that time losing in drawing, for example. You should definitely keep your scope up and make the game and not focus on like unimportant things, if you know. And yeah, that way I learned time management and the working on under pressure, which is a really good skill for game developers, I think. And also, after this 1 year of development, I started with my first proper game, Makis Adventure. And yeah, that was my journey basically. So I wanted to make a 2D platformer back then. It shouldn't be a big game. It was like meant to be another small game, but a platformer this time. And for Makis Adventure, it was the first time I got more and more ideas over the time. And I really didn't want to stop the development because there were so many cool things I wanted to see in the game, like swimming. Because back at that time, Maki wasn't a shark; he was just a demon, and he could swim like a human. So the shark swimming, shark transformation weren't in the game back then. But I only wanted to make like a Mario-like swimming mechanic, and make like a Super Mario Bros. Like 2D platformer. But over the time, I got so many ideas, and yeah, that way Makis Adventure developed over 2 years.
So, thank you for sharing that. And I've spoken to people before where it's kind of like a similar path and like working on game jams and working their way up and what have you. And I always find it interesting just because, game jams are always just such an interesting thing in of themselves, right? So it's like it's always interesting to hear people starting with that or when people are participating in them. Um and I'm wondering like and I apologize if I just missed this when you mentioned it. So my apologies if that's the case. But do you have any words of wisdom to share from that experience?
Yeah, definitely. The biggest thing I would say is to keep your scope small for the first games if you want to learn it, because you won't make your dream game as a first game. You will start out by making small games and learn many things. Because if you start out with using a game engine like Unity, for example, I would suggest you to start with Unity tutorials in the Unity Hub. Because Unity is the engine, the people behind the engine made tutorials, and you can access the tutorials through the Unity Hub, so you can like watch the tutorials in the engine, and that way I learned a lot because the tutorials were made by people who made the engine, so they can teach you the best. And I wouldn't advise you to buy a course because many courses are out there, and I also paid one course for like 300 euros, I think, and it was a really big money waste. And yeah, it was a big money waste. 300 euros is a lot of money for an 18-year-old, and I really wanted to invest that money into like my game dev career, but it was a big mistake, and I wouldn't like. There are so many free resources and videos that you can access, and I would tell you go with the resources that are in the internet.
So, thank you. I think that's wonderful advice, especially the especially the part about looking for free resource effectively looking for or using and making use of free resources before paying for a course.
Yeah,
Um, I imagine there's all sorts of courses out there. Well, like you said, there's a bunch, but I imagine there's all sorts of um like the scale of like beginner, intermediate, or what have you. And that, it's really easy to accidentally buy one that is out of your realm and then you end up wasting money. So, I'm sorry you had to go through that, but you know, on the grand scale, um, a good lesson to learn and a good thing to then be able to share forward with people, right? Because like, I personally am the kind of person that when uh, I offer or give advice, to like coworkers or what have you, newer coworkers. It's always, it's always in the perspective of, I made this mistake. I want to save you from my mistake. Please don't screw up like I did because you'll kick yourself, right? So like I'm always supportive and like all for anyone giving advice that is effectively trying to protect someone from kicking themselves, right? Or at least giving them the knowledge to know that, you know, they might they might end up regretting what they're doing. And then, if they still do it, well that's their problem. That's their fault, right?
yeah. I think we all have to learn from each other. And I'm a really big fan of like helping and supporting other developers. And I really want like because there was one developer on Jonas Terror's Discord. His name is Yen, and he like I ask him every single day about Unity problems and my questions, and he helped me so much. I think he helped me every day on a course of I think 7 or 8 months. So did a lot. A lot. I cannot say it to you. I think we wrote like over like 5 or 6 thousand messages, I think, and he was a big help for me.
And I think that's really good to hear, really nice to hear, because um, like just having someone in any position that's willing to help guide you or help you out, especially when you're starting to learn something, is always beneficial. Because like I'm sure you hit this wall a few times. I'm sure everyone's hit that wall a few times where you're just starting out on something or you're trying to figure something out, and like you you just don't know anymore, right? Like there's nothing. And like then someone else looks at it, spends 3 minutes and goes, oh yeah, it's because you did this. And like it's so easy for them because they've done it, they've learned it, they've experienced it or what have you. Um, but like it's always so nice to have someone that's willing to do that with you. Cause like, you don't need to spend 6 hours stressing over something or longer or what have you when someone could help you in a matter of minutes after you went well past the point of this being a learning experience for yourself and is now just a detriment to yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Mateo, I am also curious about this because you mentioned that Super Mario Kart was one of your favorite games. I'm wondering, what your favorite games are, and like, what it is that makes them your favorite game, and how did you pull that into, your the games that you want to make as well. I know that's like a large loaded question. So how about we start with what your favorite games are and what sets them apart, and then we'll move to the next part after.
Yeah, I can talk a lot about it because like two of my favorite video games of all time are Pokemon Pearl and Zelda Wind Waker HD. I will start with Pokemon. Pokemon was my like I would say it's my second favorite game of all time because just love this pixel art, this aesthetic of the old Pokemon games, and as a whole, um, Pokemon I think was one of the first video games I played in my life. So I started to play Pokemon on my DS when I was 7 or 8 years old, and it was a really like I loved everything about it. I loved the music. The music in Pokemon Pearl is one of my favorite video game music of all time. I love the cities. I love the whole world design. I love the Pokemon, and I really love the art style. It really, like this nostalgic feeling of like going to open my Nintendo and like playing Pokemon. It's so big to me and it's so important to me because I just love it. And yeah, Pokemon Pearl was also like the pixel aesthetic was my reason to go for a pixel art game, to be honest. So I could say that Pokemon Pearl was the reason I made a pixel art platformer. That's for sure. And a bit about the other game, Wind Waker. It's one of the first games. Oh, it's my first game I played on the Wii U. So it's like one of a kind of a debut for me. And also to be honest, I always love Zelda games. I like when I walked through Hyrule and Ocarina of Time, I loved everything. I really love the art style. This when you grow up in the game, then everything gets like this rotten and dark, and I really love the atmosphere in these games. But Wind Waker was for me a bit of a break in this whole thing because you had like Twilight Princess where it's really dark, you had Ocarina of Time which gets really dark, and Wind Waker was this colorful and beautiful game that is just so different and so beautiful. And I loved everything. I love every single thing about this game. And the biggest thing I love is the swimming around on the boat because I love islands. I love the ocean. I'm a big fan of the ocean from underwater world. So like my favorite anime is a shark. That's why I made a shark platformer. And I just loved this feeling of freedom when you like cruise around on your like boat in Wind Waker. And I also love the characters. For example, I don't think in Germany the island is called Portemonnaie. It's like the NPC island I call it because it's like there's no dungeon. It's more like you get to meet NPCs, you get to meet the characters who live there. Everyone has like a quest or has like a cool dialogue to talk to you, and the character design of this game is super, super beautiful. I love everything about it. And I think it's also like an inspiration from Michael Jackson on this island, which like really got me laughing. And yeah, I don't know if you played Wind Waker, but it's definitely my favorite game of all time. Yeah, that was my selection. And a bit about Wind Waker and Makis Adventure. The whole 3D hub world was inspired by Wind Waker because I love this dungeon traveling and like you have a dungeon gameplay, and after you complete a dungeon, you then have to like explore the areas around you. You have this boat and you can cruise around freely if you want. There are like enemies and there are like this I think enemy towers in the ocean are really cool. Like you can fight on the ocean, you can explore islands, you can cruise around. It's like the gameplay is so good, really good. I love it.
So, thank you for sharing that. And like I can understand the influence in Mackey's Adventure for the open world ish or like the 3D world. 3D portions, or however you want to phrase that. Um, and yes, I have played Wind Waker. It's been a long while since I played it. Um, it's I was trying to think of why it's been a long while, and I was or when. And yeah, it's been a good hot minute. I played it after the Wii came out. So I got the GameCube version and played it then. So it's been a good couple of years. Um but yeah, it is a wonderful game. Like you said, it's incredibly colorful. I don't know if you're too aware of this. However, at the time, um just like to speak of or to the colorful nature of it or what have you. But at the time, um, before after Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, at one at Nintendo World or one of the conferences, they were showing off this tech demo of that looked like a continuation of Ocarina of Time or that style, and then they released Wind Waker, and a lot of people were upset. And it's always funny to me to hear about the amount of people nowadays that really like Wind Waker, and the amount of people that got upset about the cell shaded graphics and then played it and realized it was a fantastic game when it came out as well. But it's always funny or nice to hear that that stigma did not continue doesn't seem to continue with like a younger generation that picks it up and they just accept it for what it is without worrying about it too much because uh, back then there was, quite a negative stigma for no reason other than because people were upset over it being, colorful and bright and like fun. Um, but then, those are the exact reasons you like it and why a lot of people like it. So, so I don't know where I'm going with this. I just wanted to mention that I'm always happy to hear that that people are appreciating Wind Waker now. Like it's aged well is what I'm trying to get to. Um, and that that you were able to enjoy it because yeah, like I said, Wind Waker was a fantastic game, and I think it's always going to continue to be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you. And I also got like I think I saw this like hate from the community with like this toony cel shaded look, and many arguments were like this looks like a child game, and we want the serious Zelda games. And I definitely, to be honest, I cannot really understand this reaction because it's always like that when someone changes the look of something. Like if, for example, FIFA is looking really realistic. If they now went for like a cartoony look, all the players would definitely also be very upset because like they break the whole like design of the game. But with Zelda games, it was like always so cool to see different games, and it always feels like the same world, but with a different art style for me, the Zelda games. And for example, Ocarina of Time, this contrast where it started with this beautiful world with where Link was young and everything was looking good, and when he like grew up, it started to look really awful and like everywhere were these demons and it was really like haunted. I really love this aesthetic and this like contrast between these both worlds, I would say. But to be honest, I was really hyped when I saw the first trailer of Wind Waker, and I didn't saw it when it came out because I think it was way too early for me. But I saw it on the Wii U when the trailer was announced, the remake. So it was so cool for me, and I always was a fan of this colorful, like cel shaded look. So I'm always a big fan of this game immediately.
And yeah, I'm happy to hear that you've had such you had such enjoyment with it, right? Like I think that's the important thing for games that you get to enjoy games. Um, which some people have trouble doing or what have you. Sorry, I don't know where I'm going with that one. I'm happy that you enjoy it so much and that it like holds such a special place in your life in your heart. That's where I'm going with that one. Um, now, Mateo, I am curious about this as well because um, you started relatively new, or making games relatively new, or sorry, I don't know why I'm struggling with trying to phrase this right. Um, because you started making games in the last handful of years, I'm wondering when you were coming up and like participating in game jams and putting stuff out on itch.io, if there were like some smaller games that you got to play or that you used, like that you looked at, you saw, or what have you. that you don't think got enough attention or don't get enough credit or, what have you. So yeah, I'm just wondering if there were like some smaller games that you played while you were doing all the game jams and that you think people should check out.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't played many small games, but there's one game which is a kind of popular indie game. It many people know it, but it definitely not got enough attention in my opinion. And it's called A Short Hike. I love this game so much because I came home from a stressful day in university one day, and I saw this banner art, like this like cover art on Steam, which had like this beautiful bird and this Short Hike logo, and I immediately loved this like color theme. And it was I think €9 back then. It was on a sale, and I bought it immediately. I played it through in like 3 or 4 hours, and my mood got from a really like stressed and really like sad mood to a really happy mood. And this game was the first game which really got me my mood changed. And this one really meant a lot to me because I got happy and I got my day changed by playing a video game. Before it was never the case where like a game was so emotional and so big for me that like I was happier after playing it. Because like of course Minecraft is fun to me and I enjoy it, but from a short hike, like I was winning the next 2 or 3 days because this game is so beautiful, and I loved everything about it. And the fact that the game is developed by one developer, which motivated me so much. And like I think a short hike is my favorite indie game of all time because it's just so beautiful and the world is so great. And it got the same like Wind Waker charm for me because you have like the cel shaded and this cartoony look is in both games. And I love exploration, so a short hike was a really big game for me because I could like walk around on the island. And it was like the developer called it a small open world. So it's like an open world game, but the world is really small, so you can like walk around it in a few hours. And it's definitely one of my favorite video games of all time and my favorite indie game.
So, thank you for sharing that. And I'm happy to hear that it left such a positive impression, you know, uh, on you. It's always nice to hear when games are able to do that. Like one of the questions I sometimes ask is, best comfort game or a variation thereof. And like that's, you kind of nailed the whole theming or the whole like heart of, what that question's about is a game that makes you feel good, makes you feel better or helps you relax or what have you. So it's, I'm happy to hear and thank you for sharing that, a short hike was, not only a game that you don't feel gets enough credit or, could use more eyes on it, but is also like this game that, has left such a positive impression on you that, like you said, it made you feel happy for several days after playing it. So thank you for sharing
Yeah, sure. I'm here for that. And like
that.
I always love to spread like love about other indie games because I'm also a developer and I know how like when for example one of the most like one of the biggest moments for me was when one press a person like wrote a review about my game, and it got a 5 out of 5, and the like he calls the game the most charming video game he played and reviewed in his lifetime. And this sentence got me so happy. Like my day was really happy at that point, and it was so beautiful. Like when I read through the review, I was like at first I was like, oh, thank you so much for the kind words. But in the end, I was like almost starting to cry, to be honest, because it was so emotional to me. Because back when I developed the game, I could never have dreamed of getting so many cool reviews about the game. And my biggest fear was that press and people would not like the game because I made the game and I played the game every single day to test it. And after 1 or 1.5 years, I kind of started to hate the game because you play it the whole day, and you play it every single day for like 1 year. You are really like fed up with the game and you just want to finish it, and like everything annoys you, like every single bug. And but people who play the game for the first time enjoyed it so much, and this was really a big important moment for me. So yeah.
you know, I can understand where you're coming from with that. 'Cause, I think anyone that is in a passion driven, there we go, there's the right words. Sorry, if anyone that's in like a passion driven industry, I imagine they love to know that, what they're doing is, people are seeing it, people are enjoying it, and like hearing about people, you know, enjoying it, right? Because like as much as a lot of people will say when it comes to making games, you make the game that you want to make for yourself, but at the same time, when you release something that's, you're putting something out there, knowing that people are seeing it, like being seen and being like having people speak kindly of it or highly of it or what have you, right? Like, that's they're speaking of this part of you that you're putting out there for the public to see, right? So like I can understand that and I'm happy that, you have received, you know, that kindness. I'm happy that you were able to have that um because like, kind of like you said, a lot of people don't, a lot of indie games kind of go under the radar for a lot of people, or they get found later on, or what have you, what have you. And knowing that, a lot of people that might not be seen, or like all of their work might not be recognized, or like, however you want to phrase this, is, can be crestfallen, I don't think that's the right word. Um, it can just be depressing to, to have you to put all of yourself into something and like have no one see it, have no one what have you, right? So like I'm happy to know that, you receive that positivity back. I think that's the best way to put it, to not try and overcomplicate it or what have you. So yeah, I'm happy that, that you got to experience that.
Thank you. It is really like developing a video game is a big ride and it's a big journey. And sadly, the truth is that many developers don't even finish their game because they give up on this whole journey. And if you release a video game, you already made you already got further than probably 80% of the people who made or started a video game. And it's like a data on the internet, so it's like a trusted source. But if you like make a video game, you are and release it on Steam, you are under the top developers right there because developing a video game is, in my opinion, one of the hardest skills in the creative way because you are not only writing a song, you're not only like programming, you're not only making a character, you are telling a story and you are combining everything to make it fit into one game, into one product. And of course, making a song, for example, is also a really, really hard task, and it really like takes hours or days or weeks to make a video or song. But making a video game, in my opinion, is like a whole other level because you have to get everything done, and then you have to combine everything and make it feel unified, if you know what I mean. And developing this game was because I'm not a musician, so I had like to outsource music and find music on the internet that fits the game, which is also a skill in my opinion because for some islands I had to find like a moody island track, but I couldn't find anything. So I spent like weeks to find one music track because music is super important for a video game. Because music makes the mood come true, if you know what I mean. And if you like have a dark dungeon without music, it's very boring. But if you have like a dark dungeon with like really moody and dark music in the background, it gets really perfect. It's like um, it's like the frosting on the cupcake, if you know what I mean. It just adds the detail that is needed to make the game stand out.
Yes, yes, I know exactly what you mean. That certain I forget the French term for it. Je ne sais quoi or something like that. Sorry, my brain went blank right there on it. But yes, no, I know exactly what you mean. It's like it's that the cherry on top. It's the thing that it's, it's right there, and that's the thing that pushes it over the edge for you to enjoy, right? Um,
Yeah, definitely.
and as someone that has historically not had good Googling skills, and now it's even worse because of all of the AI nonsense inside of Google, and like the search and all of that fun stuff. I 100% agree. Being able to search and find the things you need to find online is is a skill now. It's like it's a very, sometimes you can get lucky and sometimes you can't. You can spend so long trying to find something and it's just, so difficult. So yes, I understand completely what you mean by like having to spend all that time to find that perfect song or that perfect what have you to make what you want to do, like to bring your vision to life, right? Um, so I understand completely, and I'm happy that you didn't have to spend much more than a few weeks trying to find one song because I've been there. It's not fun at all, is it?
Yeah, it's a big process, and because I needed, I think, 12 tracks for the whole game, because you have a main menu, you have like, I have four main islands, I have like an NPC island where it's like a really calm and relaxing island. I have like a boss dungeon, because the boss dungeon needs a main track and a boss fight track, and I really wanted to get like a moody track for every single thing that is happening in the game. For example, I also got a track for like cozy rooms, for example, the shop, or like there are many like bars and libraries in the game. I wanted to have different music for that to like switch the mood from the player from this dark and mysterious music when you like are in this open dungeon area, and then when you enter the library, for example, you get this like calm and peaceful music that you know there's not an enemy here, and it's like a really like a safe room, and you can explore here. So I like had to search, I think, 12 tracks overall, which was a really hard task for me. And if I like had a composer in the team who would like get it done and help me with that, it would be way easier. But since I'm a solo dev, and yeah, it's a really hard task, but I get it done.
And like just looping quickly back to you saying, the amount of developers that aren't able to get it done just because how hard it can be. I'm happy to hear you are able to get it done and get things get the whole project done because of it. Um so, Mateo, I do want to ask this before we go too much further because I do want to work towards getting you back to your evening, let you relax from school, get back to working on one of your many different projects that you are juggling right now in all ways. But I'm wondering, outside of games, what do you do to relax? Like, and if the answer is, making more games or playing more games, that is a perfectly valid question or answer. And I'm not gonna, I am the last person that will turn my nose up to it, but I just like to ask as well that outside of games, is there something you do to relax or what else you enjoy as a person?
Yeah, so I would like to answer this question with like a day of my life, because,
Sure.
for example, the day was like in the typical day of my life, I have like university from 8 to I think 6 today. So or I had like until 5, I think. But I have like around 8 hours of university on normal days. So I'm right there, and I like learn development there, but more like a software development. So game development is more like my hobby and my like spare time thing to do. But after university, love to spend like a bit of time in the park and like go for a walk, because um, I'm an IT student, so I watch a monitor the whole time and like program and write code. And if I would then go back home and then write my own code, it would be too much for me, to be honest, because I need some kind of a break, and my brain also needs a break. So I enjoy to go into the park and go for a walk. And at the current time, I have a challenge where I like walked, I think, 10 to 12 kilometers every single day to get like a refreshment, to also like keep sporty and like to not like get too lazy. So I also love to like ride bicycle. So I really love to like make some sport, and I really enjoy nature. So I'm a big fan of nature, going for a walk, meeting with my friends, going for lunch, and yeah, the social and nature element of my day is a really big element for me, because that way I can refresh, and I can prepare for developing games in the evening. Because yeah, I can tell it to you right now. After this podcast, I will grab something to eat, and then I will like go into the Discord with my friends and develop games. So it's like a really typical day in my life. And tomorrow I will stand up at I think 6 in the morning to go to university again. And I really enjoy my life currently. But of course, I would love to rather develop games full time and stand up developing video games. Um, like my dream would be also to have like a team around me and to work together on a video game, because developing games solo is like really exhausting, and you don't have anyone to talk to about problems. You don't have anyone to share the experience with. So my goal would be to build up a studio after my university graduation, and then open up a studio and get some more people in. But yeah, that's my day.
So, thank you for sharing a day in the life, if you will. Um, and I find that really interesting. The Just like the structure of everything, the balance, if you will. Um, and now I personally I'd be scared to try and do that balance because that sounds like a very busy day, and I hope for the best in you keeping that balance. Um, as well, we're doing 10 to 12 kilometers a day. That's a lot of walking. So, I am very impressed to hear that you managed to do that as often as you do. Um, but also, I'm happy to hear that you are uh, that you have some downtime, if you will, um, and that you get to enjoy nature, get to enjoy that downtime, right? Because uh, you know that's a big day. If that's what your days are like, more often than not, those are very busy days. So I'm happy to hear that you have, moments that you've carved out that relax and like have peace or however you want to phrase that, right? Um, but yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, Mateo. Now, like I said, I want to keep working you towards the door so that way you can get to some of your downtime, get to some of that relaxing time that I'm worried I'm going to steal too much of. So before I do that, though, I do want to hit you up with some lighthearted, nonsensical, and a little bit random lightning round questions. Now, again, a reminder: these are nonsense, so by all means, don't think too hard on them and feel free to answer them however it is you seem fit, okay?
Sure, I'm ready.
Which video game character is your frequent flyer, and what crime do you have to keep defending them on? In this example, you are a lawyer. I should have said that first. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me think about it. It is a really good question. Um, I would probably go with maybe Link, and Link stole rubies from the castle, and now he have to go to the court, and yeah, I'm his lawyer.
That's completely valid. If it's not broken pots, it's stealing the rupees from the broken pots, right?
Yeah.
Which video game character do you think is most likely to not return the shopping cart to the corral after shopping?
Okay. I saw like a video game where it's really currently trending, I think, where you like go down on a racetrack in a race in like a shopping cart. So I would say maybe this character because he used the shopping cart to ride home back home. But I don't know how the video game is called. So yeah, probably someone who likes to draw, likes to take a ride on a shopping cart. For example, a Mario Kart inspiration, Mario in a shopping cart. That could be it.
Fair enough. Thank you for that. I'll hit you with one more. Apparently, the bot did not like your answer and wanted you to go again. So let's go again itself and think of move past the bot. Which video game character do you think takes the term yard sale literally?
Okay, I don't know the term yard sale, so
So
uh,
let me explain it to you really quick. I'm not gonna lie. I was reading this. I'm like, do they even do this in Germany? A yard sale is similar to like a garage sale. So what you would do is you would put stuff out like on your yard, and you'd be selling, old stuff, like old dishes, old toys, old VHS tapes, whatever, whatever, whatever. And it's called like a yard sale or a garage sale. Um, However, let me ask you a different one because I don't want you to struggle on trying to comprehend the nonsense of a yard sale if you've never heard one and then have to try and answer it.
yeah, sure.
Um, Nothing personal about that. I don't want you to have to panic and try and like understand more than the question it gives you. So here, how about this one? Which video game character do you think is most likely to say, "I'm not mad, just disappointed in you," personally?
Definitely Mario for me. Because I fell in so many holes and I like killed him so many times. And I really think that if Mario was like, if I would play a living Mario, like if he had like a brain and if he could thought, I think I would, don't want to talk to him because he is so mad at me. Because like I killed him so many times. I run in every single Goomba, like I fell in every single hole, and yeah, I don't want to talk to him, and I think he's really disappointed.
So thank you for that. That is a very good answer. The moment you said Mario, I completely understood. Like yeah, the exact yes. I 100% get what you're putting down with that one. Um so yeah, so thank you for that. Now, Mateo, I have exhausted well, I don't know why I'm phrasing this way. Um sorry. Uh Now, Mateo, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I've worried that I have stolen more of your free time than I should, or from you. All things considered, for how busy your day is, or more appropriately, how early you need to wake up. And I don't want to be standing in the way of you having some relaxation. So, with that being said, if there wasn't anything else you wanted to discuss, um, I will let you go. However, if there was something else you wanted to talk about, a cool game, something else you're doing, or something you just feel more people should be aware of, by all means, the floor is yours. As well, please let everyone know where they can find more information about you, which I'll also be including in the episode description.
Okay, so first of all, don't worry about it. It was a really fun time and I enjoyed it really much. So it was definitely not a time waste for me. It was a really fun time talking to you. And I also loved the like this elevator questions in the end, this elevator pitch question, like where I have to like come up with an answer really quickly. I really like this question, and I it was really funny to think about it. Um, but yeah, like one last message where you can find me. Thank you for the invitation, of course. Thank you for the nice podcast and interview. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter or X. You can find me everywhere as Zoroarts, Zoroarts. Yeah, you can also find me on TikTok because like I'm trying to post on every single social media, so you will definitely find me somewhere. But yeah, right now I'm working on my games and I will have something to announce soon, but not right now, sadly.
So, thank you. I want to say thank you for joining me. I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself. I am always happy when, when I know that, the people that I bring on, or that, my guests or what have you, that they have fun, because, that's well, I wouldn't want to bring someone on and, bore them to death. So thank you. I'm happy that you had fun, but you are more than welcome for the invitation. The pleasure was all mine. I very much appreciate, like I said, you making the time to have this conversation with me and being here, and, working this out with the time difference and your very long day. Sorry. You said how long your day is, and my brain is just now stuck on how crazy your day is. So thank you so much. However, like I said, if there wasn't anything else, Mateo, I will 100% let you get going.
There's nothing else. I'm ready to go and thank you so much. It was a really great time talking to you.
As I said, the pleasure was all mine. It was a blast getting to speak with you and hear about your journey, hear about what you're working on, and hear about, your take, and, what sounds like your uh I hate the term 5-year plan because it's such a corporate business term. But to hear about your future 5-year plan, so to say, for, what you hope to achieve, and, like, get your own studio, and no longer have to be like a solo dev and work with other people. I hope for the best for you. Fingers are crossed that you find the success that you deserve, because, clearly you're passionate about what you're doing, and, you're trying to make games that you enjoy and having fun doing it. So, my fingers are crossed that you will find the success that you deserve, and that you do eventually get your own studio, and that you can, work with people that you enjoy working with, and not have to stress all on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you so much. But definitely, I have two dreams that are like also on the same height as the own studio, because the other two dreams are to work on either a Pokemon game with pixel art aesthetic or on a SpongeBob video game. I just wanted to say it in the end because when you said like my dream plan and my dream, I definitely love. I want to achieve this. I want to work at THQ Nordic one day and make a SpongeBob game with them, and I want to make a Pokemon in pixel art. So that's my three dreams.
You know, Mateo, all of those sound like wonderful dreams, and I will modify what I said and say my fingers are crossed that you are able to hit at least one of those dreams and
Thank
have
you so
success
much.
in doing so. But outside of that, Mateo, if there wasn't anything else, I will let you get on with your evening.
I'm done. I'm ready to go, and thank you.
Okay. You are welcome. And, thanks again to Mateo for making time to have this conversation with me. And thank you for joining us on the Red Tunic podcast, as well as a special thanks to Ronald Jenkins for the use of music from the title track from Road Steep. And be sure to check out the episode description for links to socials, websites, and other means that will allow you to learn more about or support Mateo and the podcast. And while you're doing that, share, like, follow, and whatever else you think makes the algorithm work. Thanks. Until next time.